What's up? What's up? What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to TD Phins Talk, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. We are live here on this amazing Monday night, and as you all know, it is Phinsanity Mondays. But unfortunately, Phinsanity will not be joining us this evening. We just want to make sure we keep her in our prayers. She's a little under the weather, but she's going to be just fine. She's going to be just fine. And tomorrow morning, she will be right back with us here. We'll wake up with TD in the morning. So I told her, don't worry about it. I'm going to do my thing tonight. But the beautiful thing is we have the homie Wade with us. What's going on, man?
CD, what's up, my man? How you been, brother?
I'm great, man. Shout out to Wade and DWA representing all day. How's everything for you all?
Oh man, so far so good. We can't complain.
Hold on. Where are you? Colorado?
I am in bright and sunny Colorado, my friend.
Man, I see the sun. It's just weird because I'm on the East Coast, 9 p.m. and it's 7 o'clock for you.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, 7, just a couple minutes after. It's summertime, man. The sun don't go down till late anyway. But especially when you're up high in the mountains.
It's always crazy to see that, man. But that's what's up, man. We also have Larry hanging out. What's going on, Larry?
Hey, fins up, guys. Going good, my friend. Going good. Can't complain. Even though I could, but it does no good.
I hear you, man. But listen, we're going to have some fun tonight, guys. We're going to do Phinsanity Mondays, and I thought about it. I want to, because you know how Phinsanity always have the trivia questions. I want to do the more likely edition, okay? Where I give you gentlemen a scenario or an options, and you get to pick which is more likely. Okay, y'all down for that?
Sure, sounds fun.
Wait.
Awesome, man. But before we get started, want to definitely give a special shout out to the Mod Squad. Havoc won the first one in the building. What's up, homie? Big time. I see you. Vape Pen Lynn. I see you. Rhino C. What's going on, man? Josh Hart. I see y'all. Engraven, what's up, homie? Glad you with us tonight, man. He said, here we go, man. I love you, bro. George Albanese riding out with us. Clemente 3472. And I miss anybody? Flipside Fishing. Just everybody, man. The Mod Squad is here. Chef Jew, Elder Bruce Jones, Ron, and all those who aren't included in the Mod Squad. Love y'all. Oh, the wifey's here. The wifey's here. I see her right there. Hey, babe. Love you. Engraven says, shout out to Larry and Wade. That's what's up. Rip Tupac in the house. Man, I'm glad everybody rocking out with us, man. And a few household things first before we get started. Again, I want to apologize to everybody because a lot of people say they haven't been getting their notifications. Again, I'll be releasing another notification bell video, even though I've already gotten proof that some people have the notifications on and they're still not getting them. So I've reached out to YouTube, just waiting on a reply. We'll go from there, guys. Also, make sure you hit that like button on every video that you can. That way we can get the word out more. It's a part of the YouTube algorithm to help us grow this channel exponentially. Also, make sure you check out my content at dolphinstalk.com. I don't want you all to miss that opportunity. And the website also has tons and tons and tons of dolphin content and material. So don't forget to check that out, guys. Also, if you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you see I'm popping now. You see I'm getting a little bit more active on the social medias, baby. So go hit your boy up at TDPHINSTALK on Twitter. TDPHINSTALK on Instagram, and Facebook is also TDPHINSTALK. All the platforms. I mean, all the platforms, okay? They are TDPHINSTALK, guys. Man, there was one more thing I wanted to talk about. Oh, yes, the commercials. Thank y'all for letting me know because I have it on automatic with YouTube. And for some reason, every video that I have, YouTube puts y'all know I do long videos. I do an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and YouTube has been putting commercials every 3 minutes on 3-hour videos. So I peeped that today. Going forward, hopefully that is fixed. I just have to go in manually and take away like 80% of the commercials that YouTube's throwing on every single one of my videos. So y'all be patient with me. I'm so sorry y'all getting a billion of commercials. I mean, I've had all kind of people hit me up. TD, man, I love your show, but these commercials are unbearable. Let me know whenever you take them off so I can resubscribe. That's what people are literally saying. It's crazy, but I'm going to take care of that piece, guys. I didn't know YouTube was going that heavy on it. but it will be taken care of. And shout out to the homie Havoc. I see him rocking with us. What's going on, man?
Oh, how's it going, TD?
I'm good, man. And Jazza 803 with the donation to the channel said good morning because he is. And let me see if y'all be paying attention. Where's Jazza 803? Anybody remember?
New Zealand.
Australia. Yes. It's good morning over in Australia, man. 12-hour difference exactly, man. Shout out to the homie Jazza 803 always rocking with us. He has to watch the Dolphin games at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. Every Sunday that the Dolphins play. So that's what I call a trooper. That's what's up, man.
Shout out to Perth.
Yes, absolutely. But here we go, guys. I want to go ahead and start the more likely edition, okay? And I want to get your answer, and then I want to know why, okay? The first one I posed was I put it all over my social media today. Who's more likely to make the roster? Kalen Ballage or Patrick Laird? We're gonna start with Wade. Since Wade want to laugh every time I say Caleb Ballage's name, Wade want to get a good laugh out of it, but we're gonna see. So talk to us, Wade. Who's more likely to make the roster?
Who had the better season last year? That's all you need to look at. Like, who did they? I don't want to say trust because I don't think that's the right word, but I mean, who got the bulk of the carries? In the end of the season, that was his audition for the roster. I mean, regardless, if either one of them make the roster, I don't think they're in line for a lot of touches. But I would have to say, and I know that Ballage's cap number isn't really anything special, but Laird's cheaper, right? Laird seems to be the guy they trust down the line last year. Laird, I think, can be put in for that fullback position if it needs be. Can put in the pass block if it needs be. And honestly, I mean, not that he's anything special in the pass catching game, but his instincts in the pass catching game, while they were still in the backfield, seemed to be a little better than Ballage's last year before even getting to the running. So, I mean, just off of the fact that he's the one that got the ball last year when Ballage was healthy, I'm going to say Laird.
Laird, huh?
I'll jump in here.
With it, huh? All right. So talk to us, Larry. What's your thoughts?
Well, I follow along what Wade said, but this is my take, okay? Ballage is built talent-wise to be the number one back, and that would mean he was competition with Jordan Howard. And his pass catching skills were, how should we say, disgraceful? Oh, how about this? I can catch it better out of the backfield. That's really disgraceful. Laird, I could see as a third down back, okay? And occasionally being a first down back, basically all around back. So because of Ballage lack of pass catching skills, he's going to be competing primarily with Jordan Howard. And I don't see him beating out Howard. Okay. So unless he really flashes a lot in training camp, he's going to be the one that's cut. Okay. So you got to keep, this is the way I see it. It's going to be right now Howard and then Freed as a third down back. And then you're going to see Laird as the all around back. And that's who you're going to keep in the roster. So, so that's where I would see will get cut. Ballage.
Talk to me, Havoc.
If I'm just analyzing the situation, I'm looking at Laird, and when I look at what Flores kind of values in players, he values versatility more than anything else. And if you're looking at a situation where Howard and Breida are getting the bulk of the carries, you have to ask the question, what is Ballage offering you that the other running backs aren't offering you? And, Jordan Howard is a better version of Ballage. Breida is the change of bait, the change of pace, the speed back a little bit. Laird can do a little bit of everything, nothing particularly great, but a little bit of everything. And Ballage, it's not a guy that's really going to give you a lot if you have someone like him that's better than him already on the roster. So, I think Ballage is going to catch the Greyhound.
I'm just
I
disappointed.
think Miles Gaskin makes the roster over Ballage.
Miles Gaskins over
Yeah.
Ballage, huh?
Yeah, I have to agree with that. And that's if Miles Gaskin makes the roster, but I think his odds of making it are better than Ballage.
Y'all are going just super hard on Kalen Ballage. Listen.
This is easy for me.
Okay. First of all, to help Wade out, Kalen Ballage would actually hurt the team more from a salary cap standpoint. Kalen Ballage's salary this year is $750,000, but he comes with almost $300,000 dead cap. So in essence, it's only saving $400,000. Patrick Laird makes about $650,000, and he only has a $9,000 dead cap. So we would actually be paying more to keep Laird. That's from the money standpoint. Number two, Patrick Laird didn't play until week 10 when we totally abandoned the I formation in a single back formation. We strictly went shotgun halfback on the hip, pistol on the hip, okay? And that's when all running backs started to see a little bit of daylight. If you look at Patrick Laird's games, 10 and 11, he was worse than Kalen Ballage. Until week 12, they switched into that shotgun situation. Now, early in the season, Kalen Ballage, first of all, was with the worst O-line in football early on. Worst O-line in football. The only thing that makes me question Kalen Ballage is when what's our boy name? Mark Walton came in and did his thing. But even to be fair on that point, Mark Walton got bulk of the carries that game, but even in that game where Mark Walton came in, Kalen Ballage averaged 3.5 yards per carry, a little better. Still not crazy better, but it was still a lot better that game. And from there, his rep started to decline. But that a lot of that had to do solely with the O-line. But when we compare Patrick Laird saying he's more productive, it's unfair because we all know Kalen Ballage played 12 games. He got hurt at the beginning of week 13. And this coaching staff decided to let this man start 13 weeks before he got hurt in that first quarter in week 13. And again, that's when the whole passing game changed. With the Eagles. That's when everybody fell in love with Patrick Laird was the Eagles game. If you really think about it, it was the Eagles game, and it really wasn't because of his running. It was because he was catching the ball out of the backfield and running a few draws. But he never was in a single back. He was never in the I formation. We don't know what he can do between the tackles in a loaded box. So it's hard for me to give that comparison. I really do think that Patrick Laird belongs on this roster, but not more than Kalen Ballage. And that's only because I think Kalen Ballage has, I will say the word excuse from last year. I'll actually say excuse because only he can turn that around to show us it wasn't an excuse, because in the NFL, it's about results regardless of your O-line sucking, regardless of whatever factors. It's about results. So I will say excuses rather than reasons why. Okay.
Sure.
But I think that Kalen Ballage will still beat him out because he is a coach's favorite, and they do consider that. But I also think Patrick Laird to make the roster as well.
Well, also,
Wade said Gaskins.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what I was about to bring up. I think Laird is going to be competing more directly with Gaskin than Ballage.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And TD, to the point you said, just a couple things. Like, number one, Ballage has been with the team a few years, whereas Laird was an undrafted rookie last year, so he should have got the starting nod. Number two, I mean, you talk about the spreads and the pistols and the shotguns. I mean, that's what we're going to see from Chan Gailey. You know what I mean?
But we never saw it with Ballage because he got hurt.
I hear you, but at the end of the day, let's be real about something. There's a reason we went out and got Jordan Howard and Matt Brady. All right, they don't have a lot of faith in any of these guys. So, and whether you keep 5 running back, whatever you do, I mean, who knows what this dude Perry's even going to be doing? They may designate him a running back just for some trick play. Like, you don't know really what the depth chart is going to look like as far as the active roster. I mean, the practice squad's a whole nother thing. But let's be real about something. They might run with 3 running backs and 9 receivers for all we know. Like you don't know what to expect from this offense.
You know, if I'm looking at the situation, it's I think the main knock people have on Ballage, because it's not his physical characteristics, is just natural
Vision.
ball carrying instincts. That seems to be the knock on him. If it was about physicality or his ability to run fast or just generally his attributes, then it's not really a question between him or Laird. But when you're talking about football instincts, or particularly if you're talking about someone who's going to be your third running back in a room where you may have 4 running backs, what are you bringing? What is Ballage bringing to the table if Howard and Breida, that show is moving? How do we get some productivity out of Ballage if these two guys are kind of doing what he does?
Well, he could be our red zone running back. I think he was semi-effective with that last year.
Power back?
A red zone power back. Yeah, basically, he was somewhat effective with that. I think he had 3-4 touchdowns last year. But
I'll say that when Havoc says that, you know who he reminds me of? Do you remember Michael Agnew, the tight end we took out of Missouri in the 3rd round? I think it was Tannehill's rookie year, maybe his second year. All the physical attributes in the world, right? Fast, tall, can move well in space. Just couldn't put the NFL playbook and the speed of the NFL game. And you talk about Ballage's vision, like that, he could get into a car accident with 2 open lanes next to him because he was going to run right into the car that's right in front of him. You know what I mean? Like, he's not big enough and strong enough to be one of the Marshawn Lynch guys that can go into the pile and push it, but he wants to be because he was able to do that in college. And I mean, listen, I hope I'm wrong, but at the end of the day, again, he's going to get limited opportunity, regardless of what we're talking about. They're going to get limited opportunities because Jordan Howard is a guy that needs the ball between the tackles at least 20 times a game. Matt Breida is lightning fast. You know what I mean? We're going to try to get the ball in his hands whenever we can. I don't know in Shangaley's offense how many touches that leaves for one of these guys.
Well, spread offense, like I said, is for something so simple, it's so diverse. Okay, you could be a passing offense, you could be a running offense. It depends how you build your team. So it's actually a good running offense as well as a passing offense. It's just a good offense all around. But when you have a spread offense, you're going to need a running back with vision to find the holes, because you're creating a natural holes in many cases because you're spreading it out. You're not compacting all the linebackers and DNs and all that in safeties into the small box. You're spreading the defenders out, and it's up to the running back at the snap, before the snap, to see where the potential hole is and go for it. And one of the beauties about a spread offense run game, it doesn't matter if you're a power back or a speed burner. Okay, the ability to find a hole is what the vision to find a hole is what makes you successful or not. And quickly, Anthony Manzano here had a question. How about Malcolm Perry, running back who drafted the Navy?
Well, we're gonna try Laird. We're gonna
Malcolm Perry's who I mentioned.
We're gonna try not to go with all the questions yet. We're gonna try to stay on, and then I'll hit those right before we move to the next topic. But all y'all make a fair point. But here are the things that we also got to consider. Matt Breida and Howard both coming off of injuries. They still have to prove that they're the guys that they once were. All right, and I actually personally think they will be, if not better.
There's so many players.
What happened?
I said Howard's what, 26?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he's a 30-year-old running back coming off.
I agree. I that's why I say I actually feel like they will be, but it's still a factor. You know how some people they don't shake it from the get-go. Also, this Ballage thing, I was a huge fan of Ballage because I think I felt like he, just like Laird has shown something last year, Ballage did that the year before with King and Drake in the forefront. And that's why I was advocating for Ballage to get more carries. And now we find ourselves potentially advocating for Laird to be the one getting more carries over Ballage. And I just think that something was wrong with Ballage last year. And I'm not talking about just him sucking like most people keep saying, because we saw the Ballage coming out of college. We saw the Ballage sitting behind King and Drake getting reps. Night and day to last year. I mean, it was like he was scared of contact. It was like he was timid. it just wasn't the same Ballage that I fell in love with and appreciated. So that's why it's almost like, let's give him this year with better running, a better line in front of him. And maybe that was the reason, but I honestly have no idea. But it was not the same Ballage that played his rookie year with Miami, nor was it the same Ballage from college. That's what gives me a little bit of, okay, let me hold on for a second. 1 year can just be a situational thing. What y'all think about that?
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to have the year to prove it. He's going to have camp to prove it. The thing is, I mean, he showed some flashes behind Drake, but I mean, we've had lots of players over the years that have shown some flashes here and there. But when is, he's got to consistently put it together. And the other thing we're not talking about is there's another guy that's going to get a lot of balls behind the line of scrimmage, whether they're catches or rushes, and that's Jakeem Grant. He's going to cut into a lot of this too. So, I mean, that's obviously we don't know, right? We're months away. We don't know what Gailey's, really playing this, that, and the third. When you factor in how many passes got to go to Gesicki, Parker, Preston Williams. No, I mean, that's just the main guys, right? Then you want to get Grant his balls. You want to get Allen Hearn his balls because you just re-signed both of them. Leonte Carruth, there's only so many footballs to go around. And to me, when you bring in a guy like Jordan Howard, who since he's entered the league is the third leading rusher in football, and that includes, last year when the Eagles really, A, didn't use him well, and B, didn't use him a lot.
Yeah.
And then you bring in a guy like Brady that you're hoping can hit the home run. Plus, you're expecting the passing game to improve on what it was last year. And it was kind of hot down the stretch. And we don't know when Tua is going to come in and how many balls, all that stuff. I don't know. Number one, if there's a place for even any third running back to get a lot of balls, unless we get an injury on this team. But number two, Ballage is really going to have to earn it and show that he can put it together consistently. And I don't know if he's going to even get that opportunity.
Well, I was about to say about Ballage, we love his physical attribute. I mean, you gotta love the size, the speed, and all that. But lack of confidence, running, I just don't see it. I don't see it.
You got to look out for these look the parts all-stars, it's you get enamored with these guys and you keep them around because you want to justify why you were enamored with them. It's kind of like Colbert, looks the part, should be the guy, but when it comes to on the field production, it doesn't seem to all come together. And realistically, we're not talking about many carries for whoever this running back is going to be. So,
it could be. Like I said, spread offense is multi-purpose. You can. It's just an alignment issue. It's not a passing or running strictly. It's not. It's just the setup. So it's good for running. It's good for the passing game. So, if you got a run dominant, and that's the way Chan Gailey did. I remember one year he was run. He had a 1,000-yard rusher behind that. Yeah, he's had a tight end issue with a spread offense. Well, most spread offenses don't utilize the tight end. That's because the coaches don't. But when Chan Gailey had that 1 year with Tony Gonzalez, he had 96 catches, one of his best years ever personally. Okay, and we're probably looking at for guy second. You ask him to roll for guy second in spread offense. Well, Chan Gailey has history with a tight end like that. You don't have a talented tight end. He never used the tight ends.
Big Mike Gesicki's prime for a big year. And Quint, I was thinking that too. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice here for a second. My only concern with Wilson is that the team seems to not have him in the future, right? Re-signing Hearns, re-signing Jakeem Grant. Wilson, they made him restructure, which they should have because his deal was way too big. Yeah. But to TD's point, right? Like TD's talking about, how Ballage kind of took a step back last year, whether it was confidence, whatever it was. Every other player that we have faith in, with the exception of Albert Wilson right here, took a step forward last year, right? Like Gesicki, Jakeem Grant, Parker. I mean, all these other guys took a step forward, and Ballage takes a step back. I don't think that bodes well.
Yeah. Yep. Especially,
I just don't think he has great athletes don't necessarily make great football players, or great football 100%. Players don't necessarily are great athletes. Okay. I just don't think he has the instincts. I have never seen him, even when he had those flashes of brilliance. I didn't see the instincts of finding a hole that's not there or anything like that. I'm sorry, I just didn't see it. and I'm going back to when he did flash some of those things. You know, you give me a big hole, I could run through a big hole. I might not get 60 yards like Ballage, but I get 3 yards.
You'll get it, Larry. You'll go get it, Larry.
No, I'm only being real here. So maybe I'll get, a younger me might have gotten 4. But I'm making a point here. I've never seen him have that instincts about whether it's running or even pass catching. He's got to know his quarterback's going to be in trouble. He's got to make himself available. I've never seen him make himself beyond his bad hands. I've never seen him make himself available. Realize the quarterback's in trouble, make himself available to help out the quarterback. I just haven't.
So Ballage is in the hot seat.
Oh, for sure,
100%.
All right, then. I'm gonna settle with that one because I can't argue with it, but I still think that there's something left, and only time will tell. Let's move on to the next one. This should be a good one. I want to get y'all thoughts. So tell me who and why. Who's more likely to make the Pro Bowl? Byron Jones or Xavier Howard?
Oh, man, I can answer that one. I can answer that one. I can answer that one only because I think when you're talking about, so there's the question of production, and then there's the question of making the Pro Bowl. We know the Pro Bowl, in order to make it, you're more likely to make it. You're more likely to make it if you have a high interception total, as opposed to being I think particularly in our defense where we emphasize man coverage and tackling ability, and not necessarily a high interception total. So you may see a X make it if he can put together a full year. He may get the nod because he'll have a higher interception total. But if you're looking at necessarily productivity, you may, Byron Jones may have a more productive season, but X, because of his playing style, may get the nod over Byron Jones.
Yeah, I say 100%. Yep. It's going to be X, and here's why. They're not going to throw a Byron Jones, right? X is going to have highlight reels. They're not going to show, the catches he gives up, but he's going to have the crazy pass breakups. He's going to have the interceptions. He's going to have the ones he grabs out the air and tries to take, backfield. And he'll probably have, maybe wishful thinking, but it's happened before. He's probably going to have a game, maybe even more than one, with multiple, big plays, potentially interceptions in one game. And at the end of the day, the Pro Bowl, unfortunately, is it's just a popularity contest, man. I mean, you see guys time to time get voted in, and quite frankly shouldn't be there. Case in point, Jadeveon Clowney, right?
Sacks and interceptions. That's it.
I mean, it is what it is. Corners don't get the love. I mean, for years, Nandi was by far the best corner in football. People said, "Oh, well, he doesn't have interceptions." Yeah, because he's only given up like 5 catches in however many years or whatever.
Not throwing it to him.
Yeah. By the way, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I think if both corners play up to their potential, I don't think quarterbacks want to tangle with Xavier Howard, because every time you tangle with him, he's a big interception risk. Okay. Yeah. So Brian Jones is better at maybe defending against the pass, but do you really want to tangle with Xavier Howard, who's on his game, and every throw you potentially throw is a good chance going to be an interception? I don't think so.
But Larry, that's why I look at it like
Byron is going to be on the number one guy. And when they know Byron's on the number one guy, they'd rather take the chance on X on the number 2 versus Byron on the number 1. It's not smart to throw at either one of them. Let's be very clear.
Okay, in that situation, I could agree to 100%, Wade. I mean, but again, who's your number 1? If you're, he's no longer there. If you're Andy Dalton, you're throwing to AJ Green. I don't care who's covering AJ Green. I'm throwing to Andy Dalton. I'm throwing to AJ Green. Okay, so.
AJ got to stay on the field before anything.
Yeah, I'm just making it as a point. AJ's on the field, right?
I know.
Those great receivers, they're far few in between that I would do that. But yeah, definitely got to. But you make a great point on that point. If Byron Jones on your number 1, and then quarterbacks will probably throw more towards their number 1. Cause
they should just run it. That's what they should do.
So here's the deal.
Bad options. Don't throw either one of them.
I agree with y'all. X is more likely to make the Pro Bowl not because of the interceptions, which that's why he's going to make it. But like Wade said, Jones ain't going to get many targets, man. People don't understand his coverage skills. He's not going to get any targets. Okay. Now, again, you don't want to throw the X either, but any game planning coach and quarterback is going to want to take that chance than throwing it to Byron Jones, especially on third down situations. That's a given.
Yeah.
Now, I want to flip this, though. Same two gentlemen, because there is a difference, like Wade said, the Pro Bowl is a popularity contest, right?
For sure.
Then I'm going to take it a step further. Who's more likely to make All-Pro?
Byron
Jones.
I'm going to go with Byron also.
Yeah, I think when you're talking about All-Pro, that's a different classification in terms of, the Pro Bowl is a little bit like the NBA All-Star game where, they're just kind of looking at the stats and it's next man up. I think with the All-Pro, they're a little bit more judicious in evaluating who makes it and who doesn't. That's like, the Pro Bowl, like there have been Pro Bowl alternates that you've never heard of.
Yeah.
But, in terms of the All-Pro, that's they're a little more studious on that one. So I would say they're more likely to appreciate Byron Jones' all-around game and not just look at interception total.
Yeah, by the way, guys, who vote for All-Pro? Who's
the Associated Press, I believe.
AP,
Yeah, I don't like that. I think coaches appreciate Byron Jones. Hey, if you really delve into his record, the better the receiver he goes up against, the better he plays. I mean, some of his stats are awesome against the top receivers he's played. So I don't think the press is one that delves into it. Things like that.
Can I make a TD level Dolphins too happy about the home team statement? Is there a chance they both go to the All-Pro game?
If we have a top five secondary, it's
again.
Is there a chance that they're both All-Pro? I mean, when you think about it, right? Like, I think I could right now probably make a very good argument that Byron Jones is going to be there regardless, right? But if Jones truly follows the number one, and X goes up against the number two, because X is already potentially a top 5 corner of football, right? And he's using his ability on lesser receivers than he's used to, because his whole career in Miami, he's just been following the number one. Like, there's a legitimate shot they're both there. And that's, I mean, how many corners make the All-Pros? I should probably know this, but how many are on the All-Pro team? Is it just two?
One, first team.
First team, right. That's the first team. Right. Yeah, that was the point I'm going to bring up. They both could pay at an All-Pro level. The problem is this league has a lot of quality cornerbacks. You Stephon Gilmore, Patrick Peterson, just to name a couple. And
talk about my boy Denzel Ward out in Cleveland.
Maybe he does step up. I don't know. I didn't see him enough to make that determination. But there are a lot of good quality. One thing about a passing league, they create a lot of great receivers. They also create a lot of great cornerbacks to cover them. So it's going to be a tough thing for both of them to be all pros.
Yeah, especially
being a Pro Bowl. No, not at all. But to be an all pro, that's a different story altogether.
And a lot of times they'll pick one guy as the representative. So, they even if they both play at a Pro Bowl level, they're more than likely to pick one guy from the team and give it to another guy from another team, as opposed to having them both on there. Because I could point to seasons where, Sam Madison and Surtain could have both been all pros at the same time. Never happened.
Never happened. So, yeah, Rhinos make a point. Could they be a second team all pro? Yeah, but we're talking about all pro is basically one level.
Oh, no. I mean, either way, I don't care if it's second team, because both of them are honors, in my opinion. That means you're 1A or 1B in your position. That's an honor.
Sure.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about that. No, there's two. When we're talking about, you got the first team all-pro team, then a second team all-pro team. That's all we're talking. Where Rhino was talking about.
If both of these guys make first team, that means we had a historic defense. Okay,
if they both make second team, I'm thrilled.
Yeah, me too.
If they both made second team, that means we had a historic defense.
Hey, I mean, we have a top 5 secondary on paper. There's no doubt about that. Rowe is solid at strong safety. We haven't settled the free safety yet. But in terms of, Byron Jones, X, and Noah and the slot, and you figure out what you're going to do with Needham,
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Are we running a strong safety? Like, the model the Patriots have historically used under Flores was really two true cover safeties. You know what I mean? And that's what you look at right now when you look at McCain and you look at Rowe. And to be honest with you, I don't think Noah. I still can't say his last name. I've been practicing. I can't get it down. Like I don't know if he's ever going to see time in the nickel, man. I think he might end up being a cover safety, especially with his speed and stuff like that.
Oh, that's what I brought up too. Yeah, the two players I'm looking. I think if you want to,
that might be a power move.
Yeah,
so
free safety.
Was a Noah?
I mean, think about
safety pick then?
Nick Needham, Noah. Yeah.
But look, Rowe and McCain, neither one are hard hitters, right? They're in there for their cover skills, and let's face it, they're both former corners who were moved to safety.
Right.
Now, in the NFL, when you're a cover corner that gets moved to safety, it means you got about 2 years left in the league, typically, right? And who knows? I mean, we might run some crazy packages with Noah back there. I don't know. But when I look on paper on the Noah selection, I truly believe that's designed for him to play a cover safety position.
Yeah, I agree. One of the traits that people overlook in Noah, the guy loves to hit. Okay, that comes out clearly on the tape when you watch him play. He's a hitter. If you look at him and you say, man, that's a safety hitting. That's not a cornerback. He's not Deion Sanders hitting a running back. He hits like he's Troy Polamalu. He likes to hit, and he hits hard. Yeah. Well, so that's a good attribute for a safety. And that's why I'm saying don't be surprised. I also, same thing with Nick Needham. I've always said that. Ball game just brought it up too. Nick Needham is also one that may go to safety.
It seems like we're best suited because I don't know if they drafted Noah with the intention of moving him to safety. I know they value versatility, but if you have X on one side, you have Byron Jones on the other side. It looks like Noah is slotted for the slot. And Needham, where do you put Needham? Because he played so well last season, you can't you can't have him collecting dust. Especially when we have an unsettled free safety position that he can very well fill. He can fill that void for us. I don't know
what was potentially the most underrated rookie in football last year. Well, Max Crosby was the most underrated rookie. Let's be real with it. But Noah was potentially the most underrated rookie last year on a secondary that was horrific. All right, the dude didn't get any love because we were giving up such a crazy amount of yards to the air. But his play was very, very well for someone that was forced into that position and someone that had everyone else in the secondary around him moved on and off so much. And let's be real about something. Like, the Patriots under Flores have been historically known for getting players on and off the field. Now, I don't think X or Jones should be coming on and off the field, right, unless they're gassed. But all these other guys could be worked in and out. And let's face it, if someone goes down with an injury, and then Noah, Needham, any one of these guys could slide to an outside position.
By the way, one thing I noted about all these guys are around practically the same size, same range. So I could see a situation where, irrespective of titles, you just play the best four that you got. Okay, and then when you go to five-man, you play the best five. Play five safety people, the secondary people you got. So you could have a situation where Needham or Noah plays free safety on certain downs because he's one of the best players you got back there. Mm-hmm. They're all about the same size and have the basic abilities. So
or you got a speed receiver that comes in and Noah comes in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got an all-around elite guy and Jones follows him to the other side of the field. I mean, you could do all kinds of stuff with what you got.
Yes, you can. The flexibility, yep. Flexibility, and that's what I'm saying. There may not even be, if this was the Miami Heat, Flores would be saying, we're playing positionless football. You just put your best players out there and match up the best against what we want, which is a Belichick trait,
Yeah. Well, I think when you're looking at the secondary, you're looking for, it's great to have guys that are great at their individual position, but what can really unlock the defense is a guy that has that versatility, like a Patrick Chung type guy. He unlocks a lot of what they do in New England because you can put him anywhere. Yep. He has a discipline. He can play all these positions. So are they grooming a Noah to do that? Because I would think they're more likely to groom a Needham to do that because
I was going to say Needham.
At the immediate, Needham can play on the boundaries. Sure. I don't know if that's what they would want for Noah right now. I think they're going to just let him just eat in the slot all year long. And, Needham's probably going to find his way at free safety because we don't have a solution there. And with X and Byron Jones, he's not going to get a lot of time on the boundaries.
I would say Needham is a great candidate for the Patrick Chung role. If you look at his stats, I mean, he had a little bit of everything. He did it well. So he graded out well in a little bit of everything that he did. So I'd make him an ideal candidate for a Patrick Chung type role.
Well, think about who Patrick Chung is, right? Like, he excelled in that system. Remember, he left Philadelphia. He left New England and went to Philadelphia, and he was horrible. Right? He was awful for 2 years, and then they sent him right back up to New England, and almost like clockwork, right? He stepped right back into that role. Like, so it really is using and this is what great football has always been. I talked about this, we were on here talking about Don Shula, is getting the most out of what you have, right? And a dude like Needham, no one took a chance on Needham, right? He was a nobody, right? We put him on the field against elite receivers. He did okay, but we also put him in the nickel. We put him in the safety spot. We put him in the box, all kinds of stuff with him. And there was a lot of that last year, which I really think this almost goes back to my argument against Ballage. Like, a lot of the players last year were put in some uncomfortable positions for the team to say, show us what you can do here. And Needham was one of the guys that stepped up.
True. And you need guys like that. You need guys that can unlock the lineup for you. Like every team or most successful defenses have a guy who's not necessarily going to give you the Pro Bowl level production, but his presence allows you to put everybody else in their optimal position. And I think, a guy like Needham, because we need to keep him on the field, because to get a guy from undrafted free agent to the way he presented himself last season, we need to build on that. We can't have him, collecting dust in the sidelines. He needs to be out there getting, full-time reps. Now moving forward, it looks like, they're going to let Noah be a dog in the slot. That's what it looks like. They're going to let him, go through his bumps, but that's his position to lose. So, the only thing that's unsettled is the free safety position, because they like Rowe as strong safety. So
I just think that the slot is a waste of Noah's speed, man. The dude is lightning fast. And DraftKings down here talking about getting scored. Everybody was getting scored on in Miami secondary last year. Yeah. We started, I think, was it 12 different people in the secondary throughout? It might even be more, honestly. And part of that was because of X's injury or whatever.
Probably 40.
But I don't know, man. Unless you plan on having some unique blitz packages where you line him up like he's going to cover somebody and then rushes in, I think the slot is a waste of his speed, man. I think he could be a game changer in the back, especially when you consider that with X and Jones locking down receivers, they're going to have to take some shots, right? And I think the one place that we are still very vulnerable in the passing game is those short routes over the middle, right, to the big tight ends and stuff like that. But especially if we got Jones and X out wide, they're going to try to take some shots on us in the middle down the field. And if we can get a guy that can burn like Noah, that has them type of coverage skills to play back there in case somebody gets through, that's a safety net, man. I'd love to have these two corners.
Noah will see the field, bro. Noah's going to see the field this year. It's just a matter of how much, what packages he end up earning reps in. Listen, man, while y'all was sitting here doing all this talking about this secondary, man, I was just sitting here. I'm sitting here reflecting on, oh my gosh, can the season start already, man? Yeah. I need my Dolphins football, but you know what I need that I have never experienced in my life? I need to witness a winning team. And when I say a winning team, one that goes into the playoffs and just the first game, we're the favorite. Just once in my life. I'm not talking about Dan Marino's era because I was a little kid. I ain't know better. But I have yet to, in my life, be the favorite in the first playoff game. I just need that in my life for the world to think that we're good. I just need that once in my life. Let's move on, all right? Because we've been on the secondary. I want to go to something that we don't talk about much. It's the defensive line, and it's one player in particular.
Christian Wilkins.
No, sir.
Gotcha.
Will Devon Gotchow get re-signed this year? Likely or not?
Not likely. Not likely. I
not
think
what he's asking for. Not likely.
Yeah, I think they're grooming Raekwon to take his spot. And
that's my thought. Raekwon Davis, man.
If he's going to ask for for fair market value, when we already have, Raekwon groomed up, ready to take your spot, I'm not saying they're going to, not re-sign him because he doesn't have the ability, but we drafted your replacement, bro. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
I think that listen, I like Godshaw. I think Godshaw's another guy that stepped up last year. But here's the thing: the fact of the matter is, he's designed to be a 4-3 D tackle, not a 3-4 D tackle.
Exactly.
Raekwon's bigger. He's a better scheme fit. He's a guy I was saying for months coming into the draft I wanted, and I'm usually not big on Alabama players. And when you got a guy that can eat, potentially two players, that's gonna open it up for Wilkins, who I think is gonna have a monster year.
I keep telling him,
guy for potentially the best player on the team this year, right? But then you also got Shaq Lawson, Emmanuel Ogbah, who are going to be out there collapsing the pocket. And this almost goes back to the Ballage situation. Like, I don't know if there's enough snaps for Godshaw to earn a payday on this defense, and I think that for him personally. As again, I think he's a good player. I think he needs to go to a team where he can really work in his true position as a 4-3 D tackle. But I love him while he's here, so let's ride out.
Now, why is everybody? We're gonna get back to Godshaw. Y'all know how I like to go on my little tangents, okay? Wait, why everybody keep disrespecting Christian Wilkins, man? They act like this man had a bad season or something, and like he ain't that dude. They don't understand. He was getting double teamed all season.
Not even that.
This year, this man about to eat, man.
Yeah, he's going ball. So that's part of it, right? Number one, I don't think they truly understand how athletic he is, because he's a chubby dude, he's a powerful dude. But I mean, the man can move, right? So one of the things that we don't, and I don't talk about stuff like this often, but because it truly comes out with him, his personality. So like everybody on the team loves him. They all want to put him in a position to be successful. And let's be real about something. We had no pass rush last year. And in fact, a lot of times, not only was he double teamed, I mean, a lot of times they would just completely run to the other side of the ball because he was the only guy really collapsing. And I don't want to take away from Godshaw, because him and Godshaw did their thing together last year. Yes. But I mean, I don't even know who led the team in sacks. It was Taco Charlton, like 6, some horrendous.
He had 5. He had 5.
It is terrible. There was nobody, like everybody pretty much got one-on-one except Wilkins. They would double Wilkins every play because he was the only one they were scared of. You can't do that with Raekwon, with Emmanuel Ogbah, with Shaq Lawson, with potentially maybe Jerome Baker, right? You can't do that. And he's going to get some one-on-ones. And he's going to win them every time. I'm sorry.
And Christian's gonna play out of the B gap more often.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's going to get a lot.
Yeah, guys, let me say one thing, okay? People have to understand that. That's unfortunate. A lot of people don't understand in chat. There's certain positions in football, a rookie just have to learn the little tricks and the trade. One of them is a D-line, D tackle, okay? When you look at his stats, I mean, if this was a 5-year veteran, it's not overwhelming. But for a rookie, those are excellent stats. Those are stats a lot of the top all-pro defensive tackles usually get in their first year. Okay. So, yeah. So, no, he's learned to trade. He's getting better at it, and he's going to have a breakout year. Max Crosby was a freak. Rookies don't usually come in and get double-digit sacks in their first year. They may get double-digit every other year afterwards, but their first year, it's learning the tricks of how to deal. The offensive lineman has experience on you, right? He knows the little tricks of how to hold to get away with it, and you got to learn how to defeat that. What you have to do to defeat that.
Let me just jump on what Larry said real quick. 2 things, right? Number one, he's talking about Max Crosby. I'm a big fan of the Bosa brothers, and I do believe Nick Bosa was the best player in that draft. Nick Bosa played on a star-studded defensive line, and Max Crosby had basically an identical season.
What an impressive year he had.
And Crosby was out there by himself. He got no love, right? And it's criminal how underrated he is. But number 2, you're right. Like a guy like Wilkins, I just talked about his athleticism. He's used to just dominating, right? And when you get to the NFL at the game speed and the schemes and just the athleticism and the strength of some of these guys, even if you are dominant, a half a second of them putting you in the position they want to put you in can mean you don't make the play, right? And that's something that, like you said, as a rookie, you're used to just being the biggest man in town, right? Even on a team like Clemson, he's used to being the biggest man in town. And he comes in against these guys that know, like, hey, I'm not better than him, but I don't really have to be. I just have to be good enough, right, to get him a half a second off, and I want to play. And the crafty veterans will do that to you. Remember, a lot of these right tackles in the NFL are guys that came in as left tackles and are a little older now, right? They're vetted, they're wise. They know how to hold just enough to get away with it. They know how to block in just a certain direction to get that runoff.
I think when you're looking at particularly you're looking at Welcomes, you're looking at a guy that has the versatility. They played a lot of end, but the versatility to play the end and inside, particularly when you have a situation where you have Charles Harris to the left of you. You have Taco Charlton to the right of you. Statistically, you're not going to have the greatest season ever. But I think, going forward, they're both statistically, they're going to be better. But also, it's going to be hard to bring back Godchild, especially when you look at what they have in plan for 2021 offseason. Can they afford to bring back Godchild when you already have a Wilkins sitting right there? That's the main reason. That's the main thing. I don't think it's a matter of Godchild's productivity as a matter of bringing him back. I just think it might just be an economic decision that may leave him off the roster.
I think they'll bring it back if his price is reasonable for his talent, but
he's going after his first big contract. He's going after his first contract.
Yeah, he's going back for a big contract now because personally, no D tackle doesn't give you consistent pressure or sacks. You don't deserve that super huge contract.
Yep. Tell me I'm wrong. He's going to end up in Buffalo right next to Jordan Phillips. And you're right. Listen, there's only one D tackle in football that's worth the massive payday, and that's
Aaron Donald. We all know
who it is. I mean, look at Fletcher Cox, right? Like Fletcher Cox.
Too. Chris Jones also.
Yeah.
Well, listen, y'all know Chris Jones is the guy I wanted number one this offseason, right? But I mean, you even look at Fletcher Cox, like he's in danger of potentially being cut next year because the number's too big and the Eagles can't afford him. Like the only player at that position, and I think it's maybe the most undervalued position of football that is worth elite money, is Aaron Donald. And I mean, Aaron Donald's a guy that if he retired right now, there's a legit argument he's the best ever to play his position after only 6 years or so. I'm not saying he is. Don't get mad at me, right? But you could argue that. You know what I mean? And he's still got years to go. He's only about 6 years in the league.
Well, let me pause for a second, and I want people to remember and reflect on the single fact that the Miami Dolphins went into preseason. I mean, no, I'm saying preseason. Went into the offseason with almost 15 holes to fill.
More.
They ended this offseason with like 2 or 3 holes to fill.
Man.
We all projected, okay, they got about 15 holes to fill. We'll get about 6 to 7 of them between free agency and the draft, at least solidified guys that we know that are going to start. But do we sit back and actually realize how successful our offseason was? Do we sit back and realize that we filled holes with starter caliber players? Like, come on, y'all. This could be a playoff team now if we can gel early enough. That's the key. Yeah. Putting it together early.
Yeah. Well, my feeling, right? When I evaluate something early on, it's did they do the right thing? No matter what the outcome is, because football is one of those things. Life is strange, but football is strange. You could get the best in the world, and all of a sudden you had a rash of injuries and everything go to there. What the Dolphins did, I don't think they could have done better, in my opinion, than what they did. Could they've gotten Jake Conklin? I don't know. Could they've who was the guard that they should have gotten maybe for the same Eric Flowers money? You can argue that. But overall, it's hard to argue to improve what they Now Brendan Scherf, they might have been out of the price they want to pay, but it's hard to argue what they did that they didn't do the best job possible. Okay. Yeah, they could here or there, you don't know. Eric Flowers paid a little too much money. I'm going to trust their judgment on it. You got to admit, Eric Flowers played terrific once he moved to guard. So does that carry forward? I don't see why not. Unless Eric, but the danger is like anytime you sign a player to a contract, are they going to put the effort in the following year after that. But what he showed last year is not something that's unique. It's he has the ability. He's a big hoss of a guy, okay, and has all the skills to be an elite guard. Apparently, his skills didn't translate tackle, so I don't have a problem paying a little more money for an Eric Flowers. Of course, I like Jack Conklin, but money might have been an issue
that's
there.
a whole different.
Yeah.
So, and I say what I said too, Larry. I said what I said as far as how successful we were this offseason. To preface one thing, it's going to make 2021's offseason free agency and the draft so much clearer.
Mhm.
Like we're gonna know what we're going after, and we're gonna get the best at the position.
True, and it's
We're
particularly
gonna get at least above average at the position, and then we're also going to add those guys coming straight off of rookie contracts to become the future in certain positions. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how the turnaround is being. I think it's effective. Of course, it has to show on the field.
Yeah,
because all this can mean nothing if some of these guys come out playing like crap. So it has to show on the field.
Yeah.
But man, I just think that we're doing so many things right these days.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
That's
many
the
things
way-
right.
That's the way you put it. They did the right thing. Now it has to translate to field. But ask me a year from now and everything goes south, I still say they did the right thing heading into the season, this off season. The only thing I would criticize them, and I haven't had a chance to talk about that, was this past draft. I wish they would have leveraged next year's draft more to acquire more picks. This past draft was a deep draft. Next year's draft is not projected to be that deep of a draft. And so they could have acquired a couple of more talented players, maybe leveraging, maybe one of the first round picks or second round pick, especially once they got Tua. Because once they got Tua, chances of them drafting a quarterback next year is pretty much slim. That's the only criticism I had of the Dolphins.
I was waiting on TD to throw a question here, so I kind of kept my mouth shut. I didn't know where this was going. But I mean, there's one or two things, I think there could have at least, maybe I'm missing something here, right? But even the Noah pick, right? And I like the Noah pick, but when we took Austin Jackson, who I'm happy we took, I think we could have got Austin Jackson at that 26 spot that we ended up trading back with Green Bay. And I mean, we had the best center on the board was still there. And the young bull at the center, I can't remember his name, at a Temple, he went in the third round. We had a shot there.
Yeah,
Matt Hennessy, thank you. And I love the Raekwon Davis. I've been banging the door for Raekwon Davis. The Malcolm Perry thing kind of has me scratching my head. And I'm sure I'm missing something, right? I'm sure they know something I don't. But he's not that fast to be converted.
Yeah, they got him for a seventh, though. They got
That's
him
a
Wade,
seventh round. Yeah.
Let me clear up some of that early stuff you're talking about, Wade. And a lot of people aren't going to believe this, and I'm not going to quote this, but if I say that I'm not going to quote it, then maybe you can read between the lines, okay? The Miami Dolphins wanted Andrew Thomas at number 5. He went at 4. Okay?
Which was the right spot for him to go, by the way.
Yeah,
that was a smart pick.
But with all the talk of him sliding, I think they really did think they can get him at 5. They wanted Andrew Thomas at 5. When they lost out on that, they couldn't take the chance to go Austin Jackson at 26.
Yeah.
I think literally, believe it or not, their whole draft changed when the Giants selected Andrew Thomas. The whole draft changed.
So you're saying they would have not drafted Tua, they would have drafted
If
Thomas?
I am telling you that if Andrew Thomas was there at 5, they cop Andrew Thomas, they take the 18th pick and they move up for their quarterback, whether it's Tua still available or Herbert.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what happened, right? But I will say that Andrew Thomas to the Giants was the best pick for that franchise. He was the only
without a doubt.
for the Giants.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
All that talk about
My mock draft, I had him taking Andrew Thomas. And
good.
I was torn between Isaiah Simmons and Andrew Thomas for the Giants. Then I remembered Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
My God, you gotta protect him.
And
He's your
Saquon.
franchise. Yeah. So what's going to definitely be a tackle, and I don't care what those pundits says, Andrew Thomas is the best left tackle.
100%. He's the only guy that played left tackle his whole college career, and he played left tackle
No
at
question.
the level.
And how about
No question.
throughout
The
his
Dolphins
whole career,
wanted that man at number 5. Y'all ain't got to believe it. All y'all don't have to believe it.
Well,
Those in the
Well,
comments
what's done is
section. You
done.
don't have to
What's done
believe
is
it.
done. Yeah,
TD, I'm one of those that's saying, and I created a stir the other day, that the Dolphins weren't as hot for Tua as a lot of people make
I'm
him out
listening,
to be.
guys.
Okay. If they really wanted Tua that badly, he thought he was the man that badly, they would have sacrificed a second-round pick to move up to make sure they got him. Okay, they didn't. They chose to wait. And some guys...
Well, I think they knew. Larry,
no, you don't know.
I think
You
they
don't
knew
know.
they were going to get him at 5. The only way they didn't
No,
get
you
him at 5
don't know.
is if somebody traded ahead of him.
That's
And the
right.
only team that I think could have traded ahead of him,
Detroit,
realistically, would have been the Chargers.
Mhm.
And I don't know. Maybe it's something about how I think. I don't know, but for some reason,
Well, you don't
Justin
know. That's
Herbert
the whole
always
point.
seemed like
But
a Chargers
wait.
QB. Yeah.
If the people out there are making like Tua to be the next Drew Brees, if that's the way you believe, okay, then you don't take any chance because if you don't get Tua, the stigma of that to the franchise is crazy. And people say, well, they had the most assets. Well, nobody made an offer to Detroit. Chargers say, hey, Chargers call. Yeah, I'll give you a 3rd-round pick. You take, and we'll just switch the spots. And the Lions will get one of the 2 people I think they wanted all along, either Simmons or Kuda. They would have been sure to get in one of those 2. So
Or Derek Brown.
Or Derek Brown, yeah. You want to throw that in. I don't think they were, but it could be. But the point I'm making here, I don't think the Dolphins, yes, they're bored. They might have had Tua at number 5, but I don't think they're sold that this is the greatest quarterback, one of the greatest quarterbacks to come out of the draft that you have to give up assets to get him. They said if he's there at 5, that's my number 1 guy on the board.
Yeah, Tua doesn't have to be that guy, though. He doesn't have to be the greatest thing since sliced.
I'm not saying no.
You know,
don't get me wrong.
It's a matter of, when you're looking at the board, particularly for this draft, Burrow is going to go number 1. The only real threat,
which is a bad move.
The only real threat was Detroit if they were going to start the rebuild early and move off Stafford, which is not going to happen because they own too much money.
No, Jackson.
And you knew they're going to take Thomas at 4 because they just drafted a quarterback the year before. So as much as we wanted to move up, I'm not saying it's a guaranteed thing. Tua would have been there at 5, but it's reasonable enough to think he would be there at 5.
Well, I'm not saying it's not reasonable. I'm just saying you're taking a chance if you believe this is your quarterback of the future. By the way, guys, one of the bigger threats I had coming, I predicted to come up for Tua was not the Chargers, it's Jacksonville. Okay, because they had two. They have no. Let me go. First of all, I'm not as high as Gardner Minshew as most people are.
No, I'm not either.
Okay. Also, Jacksonville, if the owner had his say, probably would have made that trade because that franchise is just sitting dead water right now. They need some excitement. So you get a potential Pro Bowl quarterback. You get a name that all of a sudden excites your fan base. So you killing 2 birds in 1 stone. So I would think more Jacksonville. Same thing with the Chargers. Justin Herbert's not creating any great fan interest out in Charger Dome. If they wanted to do that, they should have gone for Tua also. So yeah,
let me cover.
But by the way, and I'm thinking the number 1 might have been, and if that was the case, I would have predicted that the Dolphins would have drafted Andrew Thomas and looked to trade up for probably Jordan Love, who I thought my board was a much better prospect than Herbert. But or it could be Herbert too, but they could have looked to trade up. They don't have to go all the way up to number 6 to get a quarterback or 7 to get up, but just get from 18 down into the 10 and in. But yeah, I thought they would take Thomas and then take a quarterback.
So I'll say this. Number 1, I don't want to invoke Drew Brees' name right now. It's not a good time for that.
Zero awareness.
But to compare anybody to the greatest quarterback of all time is a bold statement when they never played a snap in the NFL. Yep. But that being said, I disagree with you. I don't think Jordan Love is going to be anything special in the NFL. And I think that if a team were to let's say the Chargers jump ahead of us and take Tua, I think there's a very good chance Herbert is maybe not there quite at 18, but maybe we trade up 1 or 2 spots to grab him because when you talk about taking Tua at 5, right, it's a math problem. You look at the teams that are in front of you. you look at the teams that are directly behind you, you look at where their needs are, right? And while I'll say this about Jacksonville, a lot of people aren't paying attention, man. Jacksonville not only had 2 first-round picks this year, they have 2 first-round picks coming up next year. They have almost as much cap space next year as we had this year.
Right.
They have a very good all-around young offense. And who knows what's going to happen with Leonard Fournette, but between Westbrook, DJ Chark, and who I believe may be the steal of the draft, Laviska Shenault, who I think if he wasn't injured, is arguably the best receiver in the draft, and they got him in the 2nd round, right? Then on the other side of the ball, Josh Allen is a game wrecker.
He's a stud.
They're probably going to trade Yannick Ngakoue for a first-round pick before the season even starts. They have the other edge rusher. I can't think of his name right now. Somebody help me out here. Who's pretty damn good. And then a lot of people don't notice Josh Schobel, who they just signed from the Cleveland Browns, the last 2 years has been the best cover linebacker in football. When it comes to covering, and I know their secondary is garbage right now, right? But there's going to be more coming down the road. They got, they just drafted C.J. Henderson out of Florida. They got more first-round picks. They're going to have a ton of money next year. Look for that team to they're either going to become a force or they're going to be set back 7 more years next season. It's going to be one of the two.
It depends on Gardner Minshew. That's what I'm saying.
Minshew may not even be there, though. I believe they're the who's the young bull from Clemson? Trevor Lawrence. They are the Trevor Lawrence team right now. They are one of the worst teams in football, and they will be drafted early next year. I don't think there's a better tie right now than Trevor Lawrence to Jacksonville. And he comes in with those 3 really good young receivers. As long as the offensive line doesn't lay down in front of them like ours did this year, they'll be dangerous on offense. And if they can keep building that defense like they have, that team can turn it around really quickly. Or they can set themselves back for 7 years.
I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is the Messiah that people have him out to be. I don't know if he's that Messiah.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry. So we got off track with Jacksonville. I'm just making the point that in my mind, Jacksonville was probably the biggest threat to move up to take Tua. Okay, because of the fact that he's not only a great quarterback prospect, but he's also one that can excite a fan base. Look what's happening. Who's the number 1 selling jersey? Number 1 and number 2 last time.
I just hope a lot of people ain't waste their money, man. What's up, ball game?
What up?
Hey, what's up?
What's up, ball game?
Hey, man, listen, it's hard. Wade can say whatever he want, man. It's hard to walk away from 6'2", 236 pounds, 4.42 speed. Now we can bash on Ballage.
Oh, okay.
Bash on him about his lack of productivity last year, but see, the difference between Ballage and all the other running backs that y'all talked about was the thing I just mentioned. He's 6'2", 236, man.
Yeah, but how many great athletes? If all required to be a great football player is a great athlete, just go to track and field teams.
No. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. He's a different type of back. And everything that was going to be predicated on him having any type of success last year was going to be all based on who's up front. He's not. He's down here. Feel me?
South.
Oh, it's hard for 200 and almost 40 pounds to get in a hole. If ain't no hole. You feel me?
I agree.
So when the dude get hit in the backfield and people talk about he don't find no hole, he don't run. Man, how you supposed to get going if you're getting hit in the backfield? Them little dudes was able to find some pockets, take the ball and be a little bit less, less inclined to hit the hole right there and then let some, because it's hard for you to find them behind them giants. That ain't Ballage's case. You see him standing up, when he back there in his stance. Waiting, you see him. It ain't no. They don't have to worry about trying to figure out where he at. You see him back there, and the formations that they put him in, that he was running exclusively out of, were you gave your hand. You told people we were going to run the ball out this set. It was a run set. The other guys were catching passes out the backfield. You know what I'm saying? Draws and all this other stuff. You didn't give Ballage any of that.
Is this the Monday night Kalen Ballage show? How do we get back on this?
For a guy that did nothing.
I walked away to get a charger. We're back on Kalen Ballage.
They need the season to start. That's what it is.
All I'm saying is that if anyone is truly looking at trying to figure out what we truly have, you don't ever really know any of that until the first 3 years of the players' time in the league. Some guys show it to you a lot earlier, like Saquon. generational player. But some guys, it takes that long. And the fact that our team has had such a deficiency at offensive line for so long, I don't think it's fair to evaluate any of our offensive players until that O-line is properly put together. All this speculation and all this thing that people talk about this guy's going to be able to do this, going to do that. We don't know what Jordan Howard's going to do. Because the O-line don't do what they're supposed to do. Jordan Howard ain't going to be Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard's going to be another person that by the middle of the season, these fans going to be talking about, get him out of here, he's a bum. Oh, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, Jordan Howard did it with a terrible Bears offensive line. Look at the Bears running game this year without Jordan Howard.
Listen. You talk about terrible. Ours was atrocious.
Yeah,
I agree.
No O-line in his head was
no one's saying it wasn't, but what we're saying is why can't we're not saying this.
Jordan Howard's dad since he was in the league, bro, has been as horrible as the one we've had.
I agree with you, but why was Mark Walton doing so much better?
Yeah, that's the point.
Because he's a smaller back with different types of runs that they giving to him. Listen, there's a big difference. There's a huge difference. I had to scheme against that. As a defensive coordinator, I had to scheme against different types of running backs. And you got to do things differently up front. The blocking changes for different types of backs. They don't go out there and run the same blocking scheme for every back that they feature. Different types of formations and requirements are all included in that process. And the bigger the guy, generally, the more massive the line. But that's not what we didn't have any power.
Behind who?
Well,
no. I'm talking about DraftKings down here. Behind who?
I don't know. I don't get into all that.
What are you talking about?
I don't get into all that. I mean, that's his personal opinion. He can say that. Maybe he's saying he's the best back behind Le'Veon. I don't know. Who else? Who's the top back in the AFC right now?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Devin Singletary he's better than Howard.
Gore.
James White.
Right? Toss up between what they've done, right? So you can go Singletary or you can go Le'Veon. Le'Veon made it for what he did in Pittsburgh, so you can't knock him for that, right? What I'm saying.
By the way,
but that was 3 years ago.
Yeah, Sap One made a comment which I agree 100%. For running back, you do it. It doesn't take 3 years for a running back. It's the easiest position to come in the league and make the contribution. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying. Hold on. Okay.
Well, that's a matter of, I mean, you could argue that all day.
Man, how's it easier?
It's easier for running back to come and make a contribution immediately. Okay, you either have the instincts of a runner or you don't. Okay,
so Larry, are you saying any running back? So you saying any great running back would have been successful behind this line?
It's the most appealing.
Hold on, guys. TD had a question there.
So I'm trying to understand what you're saying.
Behind its offensive line would have looked average, probably.
Average, really?
Yeah. You need an offensive line. Look, a great offensive line can make an average runner very good, a very good runner to an excellent runner, and to an all-pro runner.
We saw that with the Mark.
Okay,
and look, let me ask you a question.
Doesn't excuse not, like you point out, Mark Walton somehow managed, and it's not because he's small, because he has a running back instinct. So I did not see Ballage in the first 2 years. Even when he did well, it wasn't because of instinct, because his line did well that time to make the holes for him.
I mean, why are we devoting so much talk to a guy that, if he's lucky, can be the third or fourth string player on our team? Like, and it's not a knock on him. Like, we clearly brought in Howard and Breda to be the 1 and 2 guys.
Well, I don't know. Under Flores,
so what happens when Howard goes out there 2 games in and re-injures that shoulder? Now who you leaning on? Because Breda ain't gonna give you all your carries. That's why you build this guy up. That's why you keep him.
I'm not saying you won't.
Injuries happen, right?
I mean, I have not seen anything from Ballage that says he's that much better than Myles Gaskin. He's that much better than Patrick Laird. And again, I'm not saying those guys are all that great or anything special. What I'm saying is you clearly brought in 2 running backs to be your 1 and 2 guys because the guys that are on your roster you don't think are the guys that can carry the load. And that's with any position.
Hold on. Let me back up. Let me back up for a second. Let me back up. Let me say this. I don't understand. I honestly don't understand this notion that we brought in 2 guys to be our 1 and 2. We brought in 2 guys that we felt that we got a good deal on, number 1, to come into camp and compete and show why they should be the starter. This is a Brian Flores team. none of these guys are your 1 and 2 yet because it's
So
going
they
to
did,
depend on
contracts.
it's going to depend on what they do in camp. It's going to
Despite
depend
having a year where he was on an Eagles team where he did not fit the scheme at all, and they did not give him the ball the way he's supposed to have the ball, he is still the 3rd leading running back since he's entered the league.
And
Howard
that means nothing to Brian Flores if the guy behind him looks better than him in camp.
Man,
if the guy behind him looks better than him, here's my thing. I've never understood this. It's almost like getting Byron Jones for $16 million a year, right? Byron Jones comes to camp looking like pure boo-boo trash. We know that ain't gonna happen. But he comes to camp looking like pure boo-boo trash. And Nick Needham looks like an all-pro in camp. I never got the notion of play the guy that you're paying versus play the guy who's practicing and playing better. I never got that notion.
But we're not paying Jordan Howard a lot. He's only making like $5 million a year.
That's my whole point. That's my whole
point. But that's the point. It could be anybody's game in camp. Preston Williams shouldn't have been. Preston Williams came in and leapfrogged half the receiving core.
He's better than half the receiving core we had.
But they didn't know that.
Ain't much of a leap.
But let's be fair. Let's be fair. We didn't know that. We didn't know that until he came and put it on the field. Yeah, I agree. But we didn't know that until he came and put it on the field in practice for the Miami Dolphins. Nobody went. Of course, somebody was like, "Oh, this kid is special." But any of us would have been asked.
We're not talking about an undrafted rookie. We're talking about players that have proven themselves on the field. Again, Howard, Byron Jones, like we're talking about guys that have proven themselves.
We're talking about Kalen Ballage, who has never had the amount of snaps as a number 1 back.
Right, but Kalen Ballage was in training camp with Kenyon Drake and Frank Gore, and he didn't leapfrog all them the way Preston Williams did. I mean, that was your example. You know what I mean? Byron Jones worked his way to the top of the league. Like, he wasn't the number 1 overall pick.
And yet, Kenyon Drake got shipped out, and they preferred Ballage over him.
Well, Kenyon Drake refused to re-sign a deal. He wanted more money. They shipped him out only after he said, "I'm not going to re-sign," and it was the last year of his contract.
And they shipped him out with ease.
Yep. Yeah, well, he wasn't going to stay with the team. What do you mean?
Because
why keep him on the roster till the season's over so he can walk away when you get a 4th-round pick from him?
Because they had faith in Ballage. They also had faith in Ballage.
Was he making a playoff run last year? I wasn't aware of.
No, we weren't because we were still rebuilding, but they still had faith in what Ballage could be as their back.
I don't know.
Well, you know what, guys? The bottom line is this. Flores,
time will tell, right?
Got to give everybody a chance. Whoever plays the best. If he goes in there and finally shows that he could be a number 1 back, God bless him. Great for us. That's Dolphins, but I just don't see it. But it happens all the time. Some light bulb comes on. Same thing like I've been saying with Josh Rosen, right? The light bulb could come on. You just don't know. Okay.
I think it'll come off for Ballage before it comes off for Rosen.
Hey, that's a nice come off, right?
Hey, shut up. Well, sorry, man.
At the end of the day, it will never change. Time will tell. But let's move on, guys. I got another one for you. Who's more likely to have a more successful season this year? Preston Williams or Devontae Parker?
Parker?
Define successful.
It depends what type of coverage Parker is
just
getting.
A better year, Wade. Go ahead, have it.
It depends what type of coverage they put on Parker, and also depends on how healthy can Preston Williams stay. I will say, I believe Devontae Parker had a Pro Bowl season last year. So if I have to pick between either one of those, that was when he, they were keying on him last season, and he still put up numbers. So if I had to pick a guy, I think Uncle's an obvious choice, but it could be a situation where they shade coverage over to his side, and Preston Williams, they leave him alone. He can eat all season long. He can eat all season long, but I think you got to get the nod to Uncle on that one.
I don't think it's gonna matter. I think Preston Williams now had a taste of the alpha life, and he's the alpha dog in that group. And no matter what they throw at him, he's ready now. Mentally, physically, emotionally, he's tied in the fact that this coaching staff believes in him, and he went out there and he had, arguably, without a shadow of a doubt, the best comeback season for a wide receiver who everybody was calling a bust. And now people are praising him like he's a new, you know what I'm saying, like he the best thing smoking. Now, he's the same dude. He just was in a situation where the previous coach was a hater.
I don't think we're talking about how good this receiving core is. I mean, you're talking about Caleb Ballage to go with his opportunities. I mean, years back, whenever Parker did get the nod to start, he balled out. And you saw what he did last year against the so-called defensive player of the year and nonsense. But, like, I really don't think people are understanding. Like, if Preston Williams looks anything like he did last year, and then you mix in the speed of Jakeem Grant, you mix in the athleticism of Gesicki, you mix in the crafty veteran Allen Hurns, and God forbid anybody else does well with the ball in their hands, whether it's Matt Brady, Jordan Howard, anybody. I mean, I don't think people are really understanding how good this receiving core can be. There's some good ones out there, right? Denver just had a good draft, Arizona now with the trades and all that. But, I mean, if Preston Williams becomes the guy I think he can be, and Grant and Hurns continue to be who they are, and Gesicki keeps growing, there's a very good chance this can become the most dangerous receiving core in football.
Yeah. To answer TD's questions, I'm going to assume that Preston Williams comes back healthy and like before, and Devontae Parker stays injury-free like last year. That's a toughie. You would think it'd be Devontae Parker, but I think Preston Williams offers more flexibility as a receiver than Parker. Okay, his abilities to cut and stuff like that, it's going to be – plus – Parker's going to have the publicity of the 1,000 yards, so he'll probably get more attention than Preston Williams, which means Williams will probably get more opportunities, at least initially. Remember, the first half of the year, the number one receiver was not Devontae Parker. It was Preston Williams until he got hurt. Then Parker picked up and ran with it afterwards. But Preston Williams was our number one receiver before.
A lot of that was due to the fact that the guy throwing to him was a guy that was actually the backup quarterback, and in practice he was the guy working with those guys more so than the starter was.
Every game Rosen
was also with Fitz. He had the most yardage and the most catches. That wasn't by accident.
No, for sure. But Rosen was.
I'll give you that with Rosen too. I'll give you that too. But he also had it for Fitz too. But it's interesting. I hate to lean one way or the other. I think Williams will probably get more opportunities because Parker will get more attention. But Parker is talented. He's just an elite talent. So it go either way. So if I had to pick one, I like the underdog. I'm gonna go with Preston Williams.
We have to figure out what is Jakeem Grant's role on this team.
Scare people.
What is his role on this team?
If they do it the way they're supposed to do it, they let the man play where he originally. So they drafted him. You brought him in. He was not a slot guy. Man.
He's not a slot guy.
The guy can play outside. Just because he's small doesn't mean he can't take you deep and he can't go get it. That's what he did at Texas Tech. That's what he made his name off of, and he was hella good at it. He was best, actually, his senior year, one of the best wide receivers out there. But because of his size, people steered away from him. I think that's a discredit to the guy, truthfully, because if I got to go out there and I got to line up against a guy that fast, I'm giving him all the space he wants, which means that there's a whole bunch of underneath stuff that I can eat off of. You know what I'm saying? I can 8 to 10 yards down the field all day. If that guy across from me is too scared to come up and play me man to man and put his hands on me because he feel that I'm gonna run past him, I got him already where I need him, and I'm gonna exploit that. But I'm not gonna hide it inside and put him in the slot where he got to run across the middle and get blown up by middle linebackers. I'll put him out on the edge and make those teams have to match up against that.
Right. Well, that's the beauty of a spread offense because you could use a receiver that way. It's a great example of using a speed in a spread offense.
He's a little guy. He's a little guy with a big receiver. Yeah, he play like a big receiver, bro. Like
I don't think people realize just how tough he is, man. For his size, he runs over people twice.
Well, you know what?
He runs over linebackers, man.
Yeah. People tend to equate short with being small. Okay, and that's not true. I mean, a short guy that's stout and strong, it's a lot more difficult to handle athletically than
for sure.
tall.
Grant ain't stout.
Football's about leverage.
He plays like it.
Grant like 99 elusive, baby.
Yeah. Well, you know what? His problem.
He's 99 elusive, but he's 79 catch. I think that's what keeps him from propelling to a higher elevation. Is
to be fair to him though, we haven't had the most accurate quarterbacks, and it's even harder when you're a little dude and you don't have
offensive line. If you're running deep routes and you need an offensive line to give you that extra time,
you got to jump on.
I see how it works, Wade. I see how it works. You want to give the reasons behind why a guy's not successful when it's a guy that you dig.
Oh my God! Here we go. But listen, Grant is not supposed to be a number one receiver. Grant is supposed to. Why not?
Why not? Who says so?
Because Devontae Parker, Preston Williams say so. That's who says so.
You see the numbers he put up in college?
I have, but here's the thing: there's a reason.
The same type of numbers Devontae Parker nor Preston Williams put up type of numbers that Grant put up in college.
If Jakeem Grant was truly going to be a number one receiver in the NFL, someone would have snatched him to an offer sheet or offered him way more money, or he would have beat out some of these other guys like worthless Kenny Stills many times over. Like at the end of the day, this guy is not going to be our number one receiver. He's going to be a guy that's used in certain situations for a certain skill set. Y'all talk about, you keep going back to Ballage. I don't know why we keep going back to Ballage, but like y'all talk about him like he's going to be the true number one back. Like that'd be like if I said Grant's going to be out here taking all the catches away from Parker. Like no one's saying that at all.
I would just take a shot and hit you in the reels, man.
Okay.
I just noticed that you did it. That's all I'm saying. I'm just calling it out. That when it was your guy, your narrative for your guy was different. But when the guy that you ain't really favoring, you didn't give him the same type of latitude to say, okay, well,
I mean, to be very clear, I'm not saying Jakeem Grant is a Pro Bowler or All-Star by any means. I'm saying I love that he plays way bigger than his size. I love that he can scare defenses with his speed. And I think a guy like him stretching the field is going to open up our running game. It's going to open up some one-on-ones for Preston Williams and Devontae Parker. And it's going to open up, oh my God, room for Mike Gesicki over the middle.
They gotta use who would benefit the most. They gotta be bold enough to put him out there on the boundary, man, and let him work.
Yep. So let me. You know what? Before that happens, he's got to stay healthy.
So let me go back to the original question because I ain't give my take and I really want to give my take on this one. Preston Williams or Devontae Parker having a more successful season this year. I'm gonna go with Preston Williams and I'm gonna give y'all a few reasons why. If you take a look at last year, right? First of all, it's interesting. Preston Williams only played 8 games, okay? 7 or 8 games, right? Now, Preston Williams averaged literally about 4.5 catches a game in those 8 games. Devontae Parker averaged 3 catches per game. Preston Williams never got the benefit of when we finally abandoned the run and just in the shotgun Fitzpatrick slinging the ball over the field. He never even got a touch of that. Plus, Devontae Parker also benefited late in the year because Preston wasn't on the field. Not only that, another fun fact that I found was when Ryan Fitzpatrick started the beginning of the season, right? Preston Williams averaged 3.5 receptions a game, and Devontae Parker averaged 1.5 receptions a game. But when Josh Rosen came into the fold, Preston Williams averaged 4 receptions a game, which is a reception higher, and Devontae jumped up to 3.5 receptions per game, which is 2 more receptions. So some will argue Rosen did Devontae and Preston better. But again, the O-line sucked, and they went right back to Fitzpatrick. And at that point, that's when Mark Walton started taking off because the run game started to have some continuity for 3 weeks. And everything, but Preston Williams got hurt at that point. So I personally believe Preston Williams is poised if he comes back healthy. If he leaves off where he left off, I think that he has a better season than Devontae Parker, honestly.
Here's my only rebuttal to that, TD. So early in the year, when there was no run game and all that, Parker would get pressed by the number one corner. Whoever was quarterback would look up, see that, and just check right to Williams. But also later in the season, there was a lot more spreading the ball around. It wasn't just Parker. Gesicki came on. I mean, Alan Hearns was on the field.
Absolutely.
Albert Wilson came back near the end, even though he really didn't do nothing. Grant was on the field. Like, there was a lot more balls going around. Whereas early in the season when Wilson was there really wasn't. You know what I mean? We weren't getting much offensive anything off the field. So I'm not saying that means one for more, one for the other. I'm just hoping that a lot of these players get some touches this year, and it's not, hey, we're only throwing 20 balls. Parker and Preston are
that
getting
much
18.
more efficient.
Yeah, but it also
and it makes the offense that much more efficient and less predictable. So
it also offset itself though, because yet we were throwing we were spreading the ball out, but we were throwing the ball a lot more as well. I mean, let me give you Ryan Fitzpatrick to start the season at the beginning. Look at the beginning of the season. These are Ryan Fitzpatrick starts: 29 attempts, 21 attempts, 18 attempts, 33 attempts, 34 attempts. Now, when he start doing it in the shotgun, 35, 36, 45, 39, 39, 41, 52, 41. Do you see the difference? We didn't run the ball as much anymore.
Drive, you can throw the ball. We didn't run as much because we were going 3 and out every damn drive.
But we were doing the same thing early in the season. Week 17, 41 attempts. Week 16, 52 attempts. Week 15, 41 attempts. Week 14, 37. Week 13 and week 12, 39, 39. Week 11, 45. Week 10, 33. And week 9, 36. And before that, we were running the ball more. 34, 35, 18, 21, 29. This man averaged 16 more attempts per game throwing the ball. 16 more attempts per game throwing the ball. That is massive, man. 16 more chances of throwing the ball. Come on, man. That tells you the offense straight up switched up later in the season. And this is why I keep going back to the running back situation, because these guys weren't running the ball. They were getting occasional halfback draws and catching the ball out of the backfield. It was that simple. And that's why their stats looked a little better. Had they remained in the I formation in a single back, all these backs would have averaged less than 2 yards per carry. All of them. They had to adjust the offense to make sure that they can have some productivity. They abandoned the run, ladies and gentlemen. They straight up abandoned the run. That's clear. This man averaging 44 attempts per game. 44. Do y'all know what that means? To average 44 attempts per game?
It means the offense
That's
was
no balance. That's no balance, man.
that's chucking it up. That's a lot.
I mean, to be fair,
we was playing from behind most of the season. So
but
a lot of times they gave up onto it, and then the run just was not effective enough to even just throw it out there as a bounce.
But TD, look, this is. I mean, I don't want to go on a running backs forever. We literally only had one running back healthy on our roster at the end of the year. You physically can't run the ball. Like with Drake traded, Ballage, Ballage with Mark Walton cut. There was nobody on the team who was going to run it. We physically couldn't run the ball. Guys out of breath on the side of the field.
I agree. That's a good assessment of it, but we brought in 2 more backs later in the season. Now, whether we cared about them or not, that's a whole nother story. But I agree with that point. That's a good point as well. We abandoned the run. We didn't even have running backs, but at the same token, they didn't even put Laird in the I formation or the single back. They didn't even put him back there. He was sitting on Fitzpatrick's hip every single play. And anytime he ran for his 6 or 7 yards, they handed it off in a halfback draw. That's all I'm saying. They didn't even attempt to.
I mean, you can see it with Fitzpatrick's rushing numbers. At the end of the year, Fitzpatrick led the team in rushing because there was nobody to get the damn ball to. He had to take it and run away from his wife.
But that's what's even more crazy. To see Fitzpatrick with all those rushing attempts.
That one designed run.
If he didn't run,
a lot were designed. But
if he didn't, you think that they were design runs, all of Fitz's?
I say all of them. I said there were design runs. I mean, that's part of
Okay.
why you are in that formation to begin with. But I mean, everybody on that team was running for their life last year, except Parker. Pretty
That's
much.
what I'm saying. He was running for his life.
Mhm.
So yeah, the design
Well,
was
lost his life.
we got a pass play set up, but if you can't get it off, take off. That's the design. That was the design.
Man,
It's
it's
interesting.
crazy.
It's interesting. While we're on the wide receivers, I mean, we haven't really talked about who's gonna. I don't know if one person's necessarily gonna lock down the slot, but this Kirk Merritt guy, man, he's looking real impressive. And you know, we're not gonna know anything until camp starts. But it's just like we didn't sleep on Preston Williams. They identified him very early that he can be a major contributor. I think we should, take the same approach to Merritt, because this. We talking about Jakeem Grant as a playmaker. This dude, Kirk Merritt, he looks like a steal as a UDFA.
Yeah.
But not.
We got so many receivers on roster, man. I don't,
Too many
with the
receivers.
exception of maybe Albert Wilson, as I don't know how much we're gonna, actually give him the ball with him only being on the roster for another year, and most of these other guys are locked up for a few. I think everyone's gonna eat, and obviously, I think Parker and Williams will eat more. But, I mean, all these guys got to roll. There's a reason they re-signed Rand. There's a reason they re-signed Hurts.
By the way, yeah, I want to ask Ballage because I'm not totally an X and O guy, but if Chan Gailey goes to the spread offense and he uses Mike Gesicki, okay, wouldn't that help me here? Wouldn't that really eliminate the slot wide receiver if you use Gesicki as I guess they would call it inline tight end?
Bro.
When you go to a conventional spread, all they essentially saying basically is that you're actually taking your guys and you're putting them out for one-on-one situations. So having Gesicki on the field, and he can line him to the boundary, and he can run trips opposite him, he can run Trey opposite him, all that type of stuff, all that spread, because if you're isolating specific areas of the field and you're asking your guys to those one-on-one matchups so that the run lanes inside are also open up a little bit more. You get the linebackers out of the box. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. So with Gesicki being on the field, his athleticism, actually, the spread formation actually will work better for him.
Yeah. Oh, no. I agree. But I'm saying the way I envision it is you're going with four receivers, which include Gesicki, right?
Right.
So you would have Parker and Williams and Jakeem on the outside boundary.
Okay, so if they wanted to maximize spread position and the look, I would think that they would go with Gesicki outside, put Grant inside of him, go with Parker inside, who's a little bit better route runner, and Williams is who's bigger on the outside opposite. And that way,
maybe even Allen Hurns instead of Grant.
Allen Hurns. But what you've done then is, because teams look at it as if he is a tight end, they don't believe that he can. They don't want to burn on a tight end. So now you got to run a linebacker out there. So that's one less run stopper.
Sure.
In the box.
Which is what I was going to bring up. The point. But
the
purpose of putting Gesicki all the way out there, because wouldn't you want him to be working against a linebacker?
Yeah. Linebacker.
If you put him all the way out there,
it doesn't matter who he's working against. He's too big for a corner. He's too fast for a linebacker.
Some teams are flexing a strong safety out there, but then again, he's taking a key element of their defense out to the boundary. So that's one less guy that you really got to worry about being a playmaker for you at this point.
Sure. By the way, Ballgame, I don't know if you heard earlier, but I said one of the things people overlook about a spread offense is actually a very good run offense as well.
The run lanes become a lot in the spread. The splits are even different. The split, you know what I'm saying? When you run in a conventional I formation as opposed to I strong, weak, all of those traditional formations, the splits are even different. When you go to the spread, they're actually opening up. They're actually even opening up splits between the linemen, roughly another half yard. You know what I'm saying? Between them. So the run lanes, you want bigger run lanes, and you want guys to actually have to be able to Because if you can get them out of the box, generally in a spread formation, at best you're gonna have 2 linebackers in the box. You're not gonna be able to have any more than that. So now you got 4 down linemen, right? And if they go with an exotic of a 3-man down line, now that's even that's an advantage to the offense as long as you can get the nose tackle handle. You see what I'm saying? So traditionally, 4 against 5 should win, and then back just gotta, you know what I'm saying? The center gotta get to the next level, shield the Mike backer, and then you got a run lane inside zone for your running back, or whatever the case may be. But it's obviously it's designed to get numbers. The key is how effective we can be at the point of attack. You see what I'm saying? And if they line him up out there, but never feature that they'll throw the ball to him out there, then nobody gonna buy it. So they have to be committed to throwing the ball to Gesicki out there. Let him do his thing out there as well to prove to teams that, listen, we trust him one-on-one. So whoever you're going to put out there better be able to deal with him. Because at 6'6", 200, what is he now, 261?
60, somewhere around that.
Like 258, 260, something like that.
You know what I'm saying? We going to throw it to him. Can you defend it? And that would be the premium look. You see what I'm saying? Because then at that point, you're still in the 31 package. 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back. That's your base package for anything that you can shift into. So, single back doubles, you can go into gun doubles, you can go into trips, trade, trio, any of that stuff. You can flex into any of that and never have to change the personnel. That's the best personnel package, I believe, that we have. The question, like you asked, Larry, would be who's that spot guy? But you got versatility. You got versatility, and you got Wilson still. You got the kid Merrick. Yep. You got Grant. You know what I mean? All these guys do similar things, but some do a little bit better than others. I'm not ready to give up on Albert Wilson.
No, definitely not. If you got to add some, if I'm going to say who's going to be, based on what I saw last year, we saw more and more of the old Albert Wilson. Guys, I'm sorry, I don't have the greatest memory in the world, but I do remember how awesome Wilson was when he first came on board and was healthy from that slot.
Sure.
Healthy? No. And then having Parker and Williams on the outside and him working in there, no, it's going to be Wilson if he's 99% of what he was before, without a doubt.
The big boy package and spread would be Hearns, Williams, Parker, and Gesicki.
Yeah.
The speed package would be speed package would probably be could be
Wilson,
Merrick Grant, Wilson, and I'd say Parker because you still need a big target out there.
I mean, you could even put Breda.
You can even put Breda out there.
Oh yeah.
The beauty of that would be that I line Breda up in the backfield, and then I motion him out. I motion him out to the outside of the furthest outside wide receiver. So now you got a linebacker that's got to go all the way out there and play on the boundary. I don't know too many linebackers that can actually go out there and play out there in space like that.
He's a really good
route runner. He's a really good route runner. So
he is. The ball can burn. I think he was actually recorded as like the fastest ball carrier last year or something. Like, you know how they record like with the ball in his hands who runs? He hit like 20,
he did. He had the
fastest hour or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Breda, there was a discussion a while ago. There's a difference between a running back that catch a ball and a running back that's a good, great at because he could run routes, okay?
Right.
Not many running backs can run routes, okay? I can catch a ball. If you want me to flare up and be a safety valve, even I can catch a ball that way. That doesn't make me a good pass-catching running back.
So here's the thing. And this is how I was brought up. This is old school football to me. You have what you would call halfbacks, and you have
fullbacks,
right?
Tailbacks.
You have a fullback, right? So your fullback is your blocking dude. You know what I'm saying? He gonna catch you a couple dump offs here and there. You feed him just to keep the defense honest. Your halfback is a guy that you bring in special situations that can flex out of the backfield. He's great at catching passes. He can take a couple handoffs here and there and run the ball inside the tackle for you. But he's a matchup specialist for you in turn. Come out of the field, and then you have your actual halfback, fullback, and tailback. Yeah. And how was a tailback to me? How was a 20 to 25 carry a game guy to me? Mm-hmm. That's Jordan Howard. I'm not giving Matt Breida that many carries a game because Matt Breida is not built for that. Matt Breida is my I'm gonna give it to you out in the flat route. I'm gonna put you on a wheel, catch you in the seam, and then let you make something happen, type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then bring you back on first and second down, maybe, and throw you, you know what I'm saying, give you a toss here or there, run a little stretch run with you, things of that nature. But inside the tackles between the A and B gaps, that's Howard. That's what Howard gonna eat all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Breda is your typical, what I call third down
Third
pass
down back.
situation. Yeah, because he can catch it, he can run.
Right,
so
exactly.
Definitely.
Well, see, that's the beauty of it, right? In between that whole process, and I ain't going back to him, Wade, so don't worry about it. But that was one of the things that they said he could do. I mean, I don't know, man. I just think the mentality. I think his mentality was shot, man. When you know what I mean, when you touching the ball, bro, and as soon as you getting that, you getting smacked, man. That take a lot out of you. I don't care who you are. It's tough. Adrian Peterson said it best. Adrian Peterson said it best for his first season with Washington. After the first 3 games, and they couldn't get the running game going. They were like, "Why? What's the frustration?" He said, "Listen, it's tough. When as soon as you get it, you get blown up. But we're gonna persevere. We're gonna get better, and we're gonna be better for it." You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the best. He's probably right now. He'll be a Hall of Famer.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
And he's telling you, like, it's hard for a running back. It's hard out there. It's hard out there for a running back. If you ain't got nobody up front really doing what they supposed to be doing. As soon as you touch the ball, man, and you getting hit in the backfield, come on, man. You looking at the sideline of the coach like, come on, coach. Like, really? Like, come on. And then you got to stand over there and watch them switch it all up, and now they got guys running other stuff, but you like, well, how come I can't get none of that? Like, come on, man. I was that dude, you know what I'm saying, in middle school. And, you know, in Pee Wee football, they gave my cousin all the fly routes out the backfield. Now I can catch better than him, but because I was a little bit bigger than him, they had me doing all the pounding inside. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking all the punishment inside. I'm like, come on, man. Like, why I can't catch a couple of these passes out the backfield, coach? You know what I'm saying? And then when you sit down with the coach and you trying to get them understanding of why they're doing what they're doing, and they can't rationalize, and you're like, okay, well, that's that boo. You just don't know what's going on. Like, okay, I got it. I see it. I think that's where Ballage was at, especially after the 2 seasons with Adam Gates, man. And then you get me in, and you got the new regime coming in, and then we had all the issues with O'Shea, who was talking over everybody's head, and really, truthfully,
he wasn't ready for the job.
Not really still a true fan of the run game because, like, he wanted to pass the ball a lot. You feel me? He dedicated to trying to run it, but the scheme, they weren't coaching the offensive lineup. Like, come on, man. Our O-line coach was a cokehead. You know what I'm saying?
That wasn't last year.
And then the dude we bought, and then Goog came in and didn't make it either.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he got.
So what that guy say? What does that say? You know what I'm saying? He had done the dirt. He had done the work. He had done the dirty work over there with Nelson and them. But then you come to us, and you couldn't get this group to get turned around at all. Is that void of talent, or is it just that you were so comfortable in what you had done in Indianapolis that you just felt like you just showing up and telling guys a couple of things was gonna get it? What I was that he wasn't coaching. And you have to listen. Even though these guys are professionals, man, they still have to be coached. People want to believe that, you know what I'm saying, you can take lineman, you can take any lineman and just plug him into a scheme. No, that's not how that works. Some guys only function and only work in specific type roles. And when you can figure out a guy's strengths and weaknesses, then you build a scheme, you build that group together cohesively around their strengths and weaknesses. We had no continuity to be able to do that. We had too much influx over the last 3 seasons to ever be able to say that we had somebody that understood who these guys truly are. Me personally, I love Davis. I love Davis for his versatility and the fact he's gonna go out there and give you everything he got on Sundays. He might not be the best dude. He might not be the greatest guy that we got. He might not even be the most talented. But you know where you're going to be able to find him at. He's going to be doing his job. He's going to bring his pail to work every Sunday, and he's going to give you everything he got. That's the type of dudes I want. Those are the type of dudes that are coachable. Those are the type of dudes that if the rest of these guys that we brought in, because, you know, what that boy name was, Flowers, right? Suffered immensely at tackle. Then they moved him, and then he looked like what? Looked like a Pro Bowler.
He just wasn't athletic enough to play tackle, man.
But that's what I'm saying, though. But that's what you got to think, right? What coach in his right mind could look at Eric Flowers, the way he was built, the way he moved with the knock knees, right? His knees rubbing together, and think he's gonna have enough athleticism to be able to spread his legs enough to kickstart.
Well, it wasn't a coach in his right mind. I mean, the Giants specifically have turned over coaches how many times in the last couple of years? I mean, there's a reason they're in the position that they're in.
Who's their coach right now? How did he get that job?
I don't even know.
We need to look at the Rooney Rule. Judge out here with the head coach of the New York Giants. How did that happen?
Who knows?
Breaking news: Matt Burke is interviewing with the Miami Dolphins.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I hope he's only interviewing to sell lemonade. That's the only position I got for him.
Well, thanks everyone for coming out to the Kalen Ballage show.
Hey, wait! Don't do that, man.
I believe that everybody need to earn their job. Everybody need to earn what they get. Coaches, players, everybody. Fans need to be fans and be loyal to the cause. Coaches need to go out there and earn their paycheck, man. And we've been devoid a lot of coaching for the last couple seasons, the last couple years in this organization. Now we finally got a guy that believes in coaching. He said, TNT takes no talent. And I believe that because I had kids that couldn't even walk backwards, let alone backpedal. And through rigorous coaching and training and exercising and drills and things of that nature, went on to be some of the best college football players on the planet. So, but you got to be passionate about it. You got to be dedicated to doing what you got to do. Just because they're at the NFL level don't mean that they don't need to be coached still. They always need to be still finding things, man. And I'm more concerned. TD, I know you had a question, bro. I'm sorry for rambling, man, but it ain't gonna matter, man, if the O-line don't do what they gotta do.
Now, yeah, I mean that's where it all goes start, man. I just hope that we have an above average O-line that'll fix a lot of our issues that we had last year. We're supposed to end the stream at the 11 o'clock hour. And I know we did a lot of talking, but I just realized Marcus was backstage. So Marcus, you want to take about 4 minutes to close us out with any final thoughts you might have?
Honestly, you guys hit a lot of the points pretty good. I don't know. I mean, I really been thinking about that question of who's going to have a better season between Preston and Parker. Tough question, because if you remember that Jets game when they were both on the field, it was really hard because you had to decide who were you going to try and cover because both could make big plays down the field if you gave them the opportunity. So, well, you really got to consider that, right?
Preston had a better game, by the way. I'm just saying.
He did have a better game. Parker didn't really step up until he started getting those receptions because he was the only guy on the field. Parker. So you got to consider Preston had what? 430 yards. He was on track for a 900-yard season before we stepped up our passing game, right? So I think it's very easy that we're all impressed about what Parker managed to do, and what he did do was impressive. If you take his final 8 games and remove the one where he got injured, he was averaging like 127 yards a game. So he was really impressive down the stretch. But we didn't get to see Preston in that environment. We didn't get to see Preston when Fitz was throwing 40, 50 balls a game, right? So I would not be surprised if Preston steps up and shows something really impressive, and maybe we legitimately have 2 number 1 backs or 2 number 1 receivers,
and 2,000-yard receivers too, possibly.
Yeah, it'd be great.
I mean, hey, I would not put it past him, right?
The talent's there.
The talent is definitely there, and you only got to get 65 yards a game to get a 1,000-yard season, so. Very, very possible, in my opinion. As far as the running backs go, all I got to say is whether or not Kalen Ballage makes the team is up to Kalen Ballage, right? This coaching staff isn't going to just throw him in the garbage because he had a bad year last year. Clearly, they see something in him, and clearly they see something in all the players they brought in. If they brought you in, they saw something in you, and they're going to give you a chance to compete. So if Kalen Ballage makes the roster, then that means he showed something over Patrick Laird or Myles Gaskin, that you can be happy about, because at the very least it means that maybe he turned the corner in practice, and maybe he's really starting to get good. Maybe he's gotten over whatever mentals he had in his head, right? Because he was running with his head down on a lot of plays, and maybe that's because he was scared of contact. Who knows? But with this coaching staff, I feel confident that at the very least, if you're on the team, you're getting a chance to compete. And anyone, I would not be surprised if anyone stepped up, right? I mean, look at Nick Needham, right? Nick Needham started the year as probably one of the 5 worst corners in the entire game, right? I don't think there was a single corner in the league that you could say was definitively 100% worse than Nick Needham. And yet, at the end of the season, he became a top 15, maybe, right? He was in the upper half. He was an above average corner, starting from such a horrible position.
Yep.
So who's to say that some of these guys who come in and they're at a slightly below average position, right? Maybe they're top 16, right? But then they step it up in a similar way. I would not be surprised if anybody who's currently on the team makes the roster. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody who isn't currently on the team, who gets picked up halfway through training camp or picked up during the preseason, ends up balling out and making the team. So I just would not be too ready right now to say that, Ballage won't make the team or this guy won't make the team. It is going to be difficult. He's got a lot of talent on the field. We got a lot of people who, when they get cut, you're going to be like, I really wanted to see that guy, see what he could have been.
It's going to happen.
And it's going to happen.
What do we got?
But I think that, exactly. I think that at the end of the day, don't be surprised, because whether or not Ballage makes the team is up to Ballage. Whether or not any of these people make the team is up to them. If Preston doesn't show up, they're not going to put him on the field if he's the 5th best receiver, right? If he doesn't show what he did last year, if he regressed because of the injury, he's not going to get the carries. They're going to put the best man on the field to win the game. And that's honestly inspiring, right? It's very good to feel.
That's Flores's mantra through and through, all day, every day, guys. We're coming up on that 11 o'clock hour, man. Anybody had any last words?
Yeah, real quick. Besides Howard, Jones, and we'll just say Parker for the sake of argument, who's going to be our best player this year?
Tua Tagovailoa.
Wilkins.
Wilkins, my man.
Maybe Byron Jones. Maybe
number 1.
Maybe Christian Wilkins, honestly. Because I think Christian Wilkins got a lot of potential too.
Tells you how far we come. All of them to make a legitimate argument for.
Mm-hmm. I think Van Noy is going to be very solid from start to finish. That'd be my. But if we're doing like a closing comments, I just want to say, number 1, rest in peace to George Floyd. And if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So make sure you are part of the solution.
Ditto.
You heard that, Kalen?
That's our best player this year. This is TD PHINSTALK, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. We were blessed to have a homie Wade in the house. We were so blessed to have Ball Game come through, show some love, man, as always. And Havoc representing as always. Larry was the first one in the building. Hey, Larry say he got something coming out, y'all. We're going to keep y'all posted on it. I ain't going to tell a secret yet, but y'all stay tuned. And Marcus, man, I'm sorry. I don't know how long you were backstage, but I just noticed. Oh, wait, somebody else is backstage.
And it was a little while.
Okay, my bad, man. But I'm glad that she came through, homie. But we all represented for Phinsanity tonight, who was under the weather a little bit. She's trying to get healthy so she could be here for Wake Up with TD in the morning at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. So y'all say a little prayer for Phinsanity. We thank her. She also donated $50 to the channel tonight, just randomly. Love you, girl. I appreciate that. And as always, y'all make sure y'all go check out DWA. You want to let them know where they can find you all that way?
Yeah, MSM Clothing is the website. You can get one of these awesome shirts. We actually came up with these a while ago. It's just kind of relevant at the moment.
Put it up again. Put it center it on
my
the screen.
camera's a little jacked up.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see.
Right.
I love it, man. I love it.
Of course, Dolphins with Attitude, or What Would Shula Do on Instagram, and there's some links and stuff up there too.
Appreciate you, homie, man. It's always love. Hopefully we can see you again really, really soon. Ball game, you hanging out tomorrow?
Yeah, man, I'll be there.
Yeah, man, we got some good stuff coming for y'all. Havoc, I'll see you tomorrow night. I'm gonna go ahead and say that up front.
I'll be here. You know it.
And I don't know about the other guys, but y'all just let me know, man. This has been another great episode of TD Talk, Phinsanity Mondays. Thank y'all for tuning in. We love y'all, love y'all, love y'all. Thank y'all for blessing us with y'all presence tonight. Thank y'all for showing all the panelists love tonight. We had a great time. Hopefully we could do it more often and longer. But what he said?
I'm gonna want my shirt waved.
Oh man.
Oh,
Fins up. Fins up.
that's what's up. Oh yeah, I got a little side bet now. Let me stop. But we gonna get on it. But I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. This is TD Phins Talk, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. Y'all stay up, y'all, and y'all stay loving your families and stay loving the world. It's your boy. We out. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.